that Buck was linking to, Reality's Last Stand, Pediatric Gender Medicine, and the Moral Panic Over Suicide. They're basically, so they're agreeing on, like, they're doing a correlation, not causality, on, like, trans kid suicide. And nobody is making the argument, like, you know, the question is, like, are these kids committing suicide because of the oppression they feel? Are they committing suicide because they're not getting the affirmation they need? And no one is putting forth the argument. They're killing themselves because you can't change genders.
Are they killing themselves because you're giving them weird drugs?
They're killing themselves because of they're killing themselves. Well, but mostly, like, the end of the line is, like, you can't change sexes. So if you're gonna keep going with it, and if you're surrounded by people that keep telling you, yes, you can do it, you never actually do, then these people kill themselves. But they're having this weird debate over
right. So the question
where the cause of the suicide and trans people. It's like well, it lies in fucking. It doesn't lie in oppression. There is no oppression of trans stuff right now. It lies in this people trying to affirm their fucking delusions until the shit finally hits the fan.
Well, let's think about this for a second. So if you have a group of people whose identity, culture, validity, existence, and all that shit is affirmed by every institution, and these people are given privileges and power to the extent they can be everywhere they go, and in fact, when they reveal themselves to be of this group, they are granted new privileges and new access to power and access to people in power, and their complaints are heard, and they're everything, right? If you have that, and like half of them are still killing themselves, you'd have to conclude that there's something unnatural. Because imagine you did that. Now, here's the question. If, in fact, here's what I would say. Okay, you people want white genocide. Okay, so for the people that want to wipe out the white race, if your theories of trans are correct, give white people all these privileges. Because if your theory is people that are given all these privileges and validity by systems then end up killing themselves, well, give it to white people.
They're reduced to talking about.
This is what
Levine was talking about. Like, they're reduced to pretending there are comorbidities. The suicide was caused by another mental health factor.
Oh, it's like COVID.
Yeah,
or whatever. I don't even want to get into that, frankly.
That's what they're doing.
That's like a distraction I don't want to go down. But think about it. It's like, so also, like, we also know that it can be true that social alienation and disapproval can lead to suicide, right? So white people are increasingly having deaths of despair, drug overdoses, suicides, just giving up and letting yourself die. Yet, even so, white people aren't committing suicide at like a rate of 40%, right? Because frankly, we are natural people. Like, you know, like a white person is a natural person, so they have to induce it. Because the funny thing is, societally, the actual interesting thing to look at here would be, what is the rate of suicide of whites? And yes, it's probably, I'm assuming, has gone way up. We have something like 14,000 gun suicides in America already, most of which I assume are whites. That's not anywhere close to 40% of white people. And I'm sure it's not all the suicides. It's probably suicides by taking a lot of drugs that happen too and things like that. But when you actually are socially ostracizing and destroying the well-being, the emotional well-being of the people by telling them everywhere through every institution that they're pieces of shit and they can do no wrong, they can do no right, everything they do is terrible, and also give them zero access to power, zero access to make their grievances known or anything like that. You give them no access to anything, and they start killing themselves. The issue is, white people would be a very good metric to see how many suicides can a government or a system induce by simply giving people zero social validity at all, by making them feel totally illegitimate as people, right? Well, white people would be a very good case studies. How many do you get? Maybe 100,000 a year or so. I don't know. It's nowhere near 40%. Yet trans people get every social approval. They get social approval to the point where in order to criticize them, you have to have one of them come forward to be like, here's the mild self-criticism of the trans community I'm gonna give, right? You need Buck Angel. You can't just be normal. You can't be just normal Joe White guy. You have to be Buck Angel. And yet 40% of them are killing themselves. So obviously something unnatural is going on here, right? So yeah.
All right. Let's take our break.